established. We'll call the meeting in order. Call the roll, please.
Galante.
Here.
Dr. McFadden.
Here.
Mr. Monk.
Here.
Ms. Jarrett.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
Roll has been established. This is part of our meeting. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4 is citizen comments. This is a portion of the meeting where we allow citizens of the community to express any comments if they have any. Please address all your comments to the chair of the board. You have 3 minutes to have your comments. Please come up to the mic and introduce yourself, give your name, address, location, and go ahead and express your comments. This is a portion of the meeting for citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments?
How you guys doing?
How you doing?
Ryan Rebel with the Mount Clemens Coalition. I don't know. Do we need the mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to come in and let you guys know about an upcoming event that's going to happen next Friday, so it'll be the 28th. It's Conflict Resolution Day. So we're going to take about 60 students here from the high school. We're going to go across the street to First United, and we're going to learn skills about conflict resolution. So we have 3 speakers that are going to come in. It's going to be a full day. The one speaker is from CARE Southeastern Michigan. His name is Joe Galino. He's going to come in and talk about how conflict resolution works within the schools. We'll have another speaker that's going to come in, and they're coming from Turning Point, so they're going to talk about how healthy relationships work with conflict resolution, so how these 2 components tie together. And then our third one is coming from a group called Luck Incorporation, and they're going to be talking about how restorative justice practices kind of fall into those. So it's going to be a great day. We're going to be over at First United, and like I said, we're going to have about 60 students. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. And oh yes. So and then one other thing that we have that we just set up next Wednesday on the 27th?
Yes.
We are going to do vaping education. So we are going to take some of our T3 students, which is Teens Talking Truth. It's a healthy living group that we have established here. And we're going to take them and do education with the high school and middle school gym classes. So we're going to be talking about vape. We're going to talk about what's in the actual oils. And the students are actually going to be presenting this. So our T3 students will be giving the whole presentation. It's going to be pretty good, and we're looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional citizen comments? Are there any additional citizen comments? Last call for citizen comments. Are there any additional citizen comments? Seeing there being none, let's move on the agenda to item 5, consent agenda. This is approval of minutes for the January 16, 2019 organizational and regular meetings in February 13, 2019 board workshop. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Do we have a second?
Support?
Moved by Ms. Escalante, support by Ms. Walker. Any questions or comments about the motion on the floor? Seeing there being none, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Escalante.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Ms. Jarrett.
Yes.
Mr. Monk.
Yes.
Dr. McFadden.
Yes. Motion passed and approved. Consent agenda has been approved for January 26, 2019 organizational and regular meetings and the February 13, 2019 board workshop. Move on to action items. Action item number 6 from the Business Committee. Anybody here representing the Business Committee? Ms. Walker?
You can go ahead.
We did discuss the bills for payment during our Finance Committee meeting yesterday, as a matter of fact. and there were no issues or anything out of the ordinary in the bills for payment.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the bills for payment.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, moved by Ms. Walker, second and support by Ms. Jarrett. Any other questions or comments about the motion on the floor? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion passed. Item 6, Business Committee, sub-item B, budget proposal / amendment.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, we did meet as a committee last week, going over the new amended budget going forward. We are increasing the revenues by $1.6 million, and it's mostly due to some of our state aid, as we originally had budgeted a 50 student loss, but we actually only lost 10 students from prior year. So that was an increase there. We shift money a little bit around from our local government, so it's almost a little bit, right around $300 increase, $300,000 increase there, and reduce the amount coming from the intermediate school district by about the same amount. So that was a wash, and that would be our grant dollars for flow-through and preschool that was reduced. And we did get a little bit more in federal aid, so we were able to secure a couple more grants, and the fact that we got an increase in the amount of money that we got from grants. So originally we had approved $12,265,277 for total revenues for that would be available, and now we've changed that to $14,458,478. And a huge piece of that is we thought we were going to end the year and almost $750,000 still in deficit, but we ended it with just over right at $128,000 deficit. So we've greatly improved our revenues over expenditures from last year ending. And then with the expenditures, we originally approved $12,228,500.
I'm sorry, what page are you on?
Oh, page 32, I'm
32.
sorry.
32.
Yep.
32.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
way off.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay. So the expenditures originally in June were at $12,228,558, and that has been adjusted for $14,350,480. And again, we had initially planned to lay off a number of teachers because of the loss of students, and right before school started, we were able to call all of our teachers back. So we ended up not laying off anyone. So our expenditures are at $14,350,480, which net operating results would be $236,170, leaving a fund balance at the end of the year at $107,988. So this is the first time we're looking to greatly increase our bottom line and get out of deficit for this year. So we, as I said, we did meet with the Finance Committee. We discussed a few of the line items and went over everything, and there were no issues. Of course, the Finance Committee was pleased that we were able to make a better adjustment for all staff and students. So with that, I'm requesting that the board approves the budget amendment that will be effective tomorrow, February 21st.
Okay. I know there's going to be some questions and comments about this, so before we get there, let's put a motion on the floor. Is there a motion to approve the budget proposal and amendment?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Walker. Is there support or a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Escalante. Now, the floor is open for questions and comments. Mr. Monk.
Yes, have you guys took a look? I know I think our previous 2 years, We've greatly benefited from the lack of a winter.
Yes.
But this year looks like it's not that looking like that. Matter of
Right.
fact, look like we're gonna get dumped some more snow, and it calls for some more. I get these alerts on my phone like crazy.
Yes.
Have you looked at what type, how that's gonna affect the budget going forward? Cause when do we get all those bills, or when do those are paid?
That is one area I do not reduce. And we realize savings there at the end of the year.
Right.
So I didn't reduce that budget even from last year. So it still stays at right around 1.6, almost $1.7 million.
So we're inside that budget
Yes,
right
yes,
now? Okay.
yes. And so I plan for the worst winter,
Right.
no matter what.
Right.
And if we don't have to use the money then, because you'll find out, I'll discuss a little later, we ended up having to get 2 boilers for the kitchen too. So you just never know what,
Right.
you know, what equipment that needs to be fixed, even though that didn't come out of this one. But there are other things that we have to fix, and so I don't reduce that for that very purpose, for incidentals or just in case.
Okay.
But great question, thanks.
Any additional questions? Okay, so what, basically, what you just explained to Mr. Monk was our maintenance budget, or, I guess you can call it maintenance
yeah,
budget, always stays the same.
Yes.
Okay. It's like a carryover maintenance. If there's anything left over, we just keep that in there for
Right.
future
We-
expenses.
Right, so it shows on our bottom line that we do better reducing the deficit further than what we anticipated. So that's where those savings come from.
Okay, so
And
it
that's-
does show that we reduce the deficit, but that money is still allocated towards maintenance.
Yes.
All right, so I mean, even though it shows the deficit is being decreased, there's still a deficit because we're not actually counting that fund balance as
Right.
a
So at
total
the-
revenue of the budget, right?
Correct. So when we finish our audit this summer and it's presented to the board, if we don't have a horrible winter like we didn't last year, we're guesstimating that we'll end the year just over $100,000 to the good. So it could increase to $200,000 to the good, depending on what happens in maintenance and custodial budget.
And that's why I asked that question.
Yes.
Now, last year, we did not have as severe of a season as we probably have this year, and we didn't take a big loss on students from 50 to 10.
Right.
How did that play out with this year's budget?
Well, that's why, with the revenue, like I said, we originally had anticipated a little over $12 million in revenue, but because we did have the students and they were, we got a little more money in some of the other local grants. And, let's see, with the local grants and with federal funding, we increased it total from the 12.9 million up to the 14.5
Right.
million.
Now, that 14.5 and 12.9, there's a buffer there. Did that go into revenue spending, or did that portion itself, did that just go straight to paying off deficit? Or was that operational?
Yeah, it's total operation, so we have to make sure that we do not spend or budget than we take in. So we're guesstimating we're gonna bring in $14.56 million, but our expenditures at 14.3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bottom line for everybody to understand is this is money that we don't have, but we estimating that we are to receive.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
because
So
anything can change in Lansing.
Yes, this
or
is
even-
true.
Or in federal government.
Right, because our final payment from the state doesn't come until August, and of course, you know, we close out our year in June. So I have to hope that they still give us the money that they said they were gonna give us in May, all the way through August. But there have been situations in years past where your final payout is not what you had budgeted for in June, so. And it's too late because the board has already approved the budget, so we just have to take the hit.
Got it. Okay, hope that cleared everything up for everybody. Is there any other additional comments or questions about the motion on the floor? Is there a final comment from the business committee about the motion on the floor? Very well. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mr. Monk?
Yes.
Mrs. Jarrett?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion passed. Action item number 7.
Dr.
Pop. Yes, Mr. Monk.
If if you please. I would like to pull action item number 7A1, policy 0100, definitions revised for discussion and recommendation for future second reading.
Okay. Is there any other ones on that one?
Just that one.
Okay. So I'm gonna come back to that one then, okay?
Okay.
We'll pull it and get it out the way. So we're gonna move down to the other policies, and then we can talk about that one at the end.
Okay.
Policy Committee, item 7, we have action items for policy under Category A, sub-item 2, policy 0120, powers and philosophy revised. And how we gonna do this, Mr. Monk? Instead of me going down and reading everything off, I'm gonna put it in your lap, okay? You can
Sounds
read
good.
off the policy number and, give your recommendation as a chair, and we'll
Sorry.
go from there, okay?
All right,
All
thank you,
right.
sir. I'll kind of lump them together how we at the committee did it. The policies that are dealing with bylaws are 0120, 0130, 0140, and 0160. All those are policies that have federal and state guidelines for adoption. Policies that deal with the programs is policy 2261, 2261.01, with federal and state guidelines for need for adoption. Policies that dealing with our students is policy 5517.02, 5540, 5630.01. Again, for federal and state guidelines that need to be for adoption. The policies dealing with non-discrimination and EEO are policies 1422, 3122, 4122, and 2260. Again, those policies came down with both federal and state guidelines that we need to adopt as a board. And what am I doing? See, that's why I got Ms. Escalante. I'm recommending that the following policies that are presented in action item 7, starting with 2, all the way to 12, to be recommended for adoption.
Okay. So we have for the policy chair that's recommending adoption, we're gonna take it as a motion on the floor as recommended adoption, moved by Mr. Monk. Is there a second or support?
Support.
Support by Ms. Escalante. Policies on the floor from action item 7, from subcategory 2, all the way down to 12, which he explained and then put out on the floor, are being moved for adoption. Are there any questions or comments about the motion on the floor? Any questions or comments? Okay. To recap, those policies that are going to be, that are moved for approval is bylaws and federal state guidelines, EO and non-discrimination category, programs that which needs adoption by federal guidelines, and student guidelines.
That is correct.
Since there's no questions or comments on the motion on the floor, please call the roll, please.
Mr. Bunk?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Mrs. Jarrett?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion has passed. Mr. Monk,
Okay,
policy item 0100.
0100, thank you, Dr. McFadden. I pulled this because this needs more vetting. And looking at this policy, and I had to leave early at the last board meeting, and Ms. Escalante said that you guys had some concerns and questions about this policy. I read the entire policy. For this policy, it's mostly dealing with federal and state guidelines, except for when it gets to the last provision under technology resources, subcategory voting, okay? What happened is that there's a number of boards in the state that kind of have the same issues that we have. A lot of board members can't make the board meeting. So our current policy right now states that no board member can cast a vote unless they're present at the board meeting. Well, this has come up through a lot of the school districts in the state. And what Neola and also MASB has done is that they gathered the data and they put this as a recommendation for any board who wants to adopt it. It's something that we don't have to adopt. We can keep our current policy. But if we want to, as a board, we can change our policy to state that, and it says optional language, unless the board member has notified the board president prior to the meeting that he or she must participate remotely, and the board president approve remote participation by the board member. Basically what that means is that, say if I'm gonna be in Arizona, which I am, and I'm looking at a golf tournament, I won't be here, I'll call Earl, hey, I'm not gonna be at the meeting, but I will participate. I'll call in, Earl says okay, he approves it. Then as a board member, I'll be able to call in remotely, participate in a board meeting, and cast my vote as such. Now, currently, we don't have that provision. Ours saying you must be present. So now, couple of things with that. And I was kind of thinking about this. That's a good thing, but then that can also be a bad thing. Because we don't know, and I don't know, and I need to get clarification, and I'm gonna contact my instructor that I took the class from in policy. Do that constitute, if it's only 3 board members here, 1 on the phone, do that constitute a quorum? I don't know the question to that. Okay? So that's something that needs to be vetted a little further before we put this out for a second reading. Policy committee gonna do our due diligence, looking at it, contact the people who we need to contact Neola, contact MASB, get the data, get the recommendations, and figure that out. Because I know we don't wanna be, we don't wanna sit here with 3 board members, everybody else gone, and one calls in, we got a quorum, and then we can't do that. So I don't know the answer to that. Good, bad, either way, I don't know. So that's the reason why I pulled that policy, to vet it a little bit further, and we will come back to you at the next board meeting. Well, before the next board meeting, we'll get the information out to everybody for recommendations as far as what we should do. So
Okay.
that kind of explains it in a nutshell.
No, that was great, absolutely. I mean, appreciate that. So basically, what you want to find out is there a physical requirement to
Form a quorum.
If it's
to
only
have
3
to have
board
status of
members, yeah,
quorum?
yeah, right.
What's the definition of status of quorum?
Right.
Is it a physical presentation, or can everybody be Skyping at the same time we have? a
Exactly, right.
Because
Exactly.
if I'm hearing you correctly with the policy, if we change the policy as is, nobody need to be at the meeting. We can all be on
We can
monitor
all be
Skyping.
right, we can all be in
and
there, we just
have a
have
meeting.
8 phones here.
So that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a good question, and I'm glad you're doing your due diligence. I mean, you are the right guy on the policy committee. That's all I got to
Yes,
say.
he is.
You are that guy.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
Okay, so that will go back to the policy committee, and when the policy committee comes up with or, if we need to dig deeper, we'll do what we have to do.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Monk. Informational items. Item number 8, we have the business committee.
Yes. Okay, during our committee meeting, we did discuss and go over the purchase order listings that you have before you, and there were no items out of order. And if anyone from the committee wants to comment, but we did say that we would bring it to you for the full board to review. But there was nothing out of
Nope,
order.
we found everything in good order.
Okay. Any questions on that? No? Ms. Jarrett, any questions on that one?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Financial reports. I know
Okay.
you went over the budget just a few minutes ago and approved it.
Yes. With the
But go ahead and.
Yeah, with the financial reports, you would normally get a monthly financial reports that lays out how much revenue had been received for the month, and also the expenditures for thus far for the month. And in the summer, you do not, the last one that you get is the May one. And then for June through September, we don't submit one because we're waiting on the audit. And then after the audit is presented to the board, we get caught back up. And this year was somewhat unusual. We had quite a few things going on with our audit and in the district. We had quite a bit change in staff, and then we had the issue that we had to deal with PESG. And so it's been very challenging these last few months. So we did finally, and we were happy to say, hired an accounting supervisor, and she's been with us since mid-December, and she's definitely a welcome member to the team. And with that, we were finally able to get caught up. So you have the last financial report from June, because we hadn't given it to you. Well, you had the financial audit report, but the internal report we hadn't given to you. So you have that, and then you have everything from July through January, all the financial reports. You also have included in the packet our EDEP report, which is the Enhanced Deficit Elimination Plan, and I still have to report to the state treasury each month, and we were behind on all of those, so I finally got that caught up. So I did send them the final one for June, and they also have the ones from July through current, which is January. So finally, I'm happy to say we got caught up on all of our financial reports. So you have those, and it's a recap of what we talked about earlier. So we are, I guess the one page, if anything that you want to see in your binder is on page 260, and that's the January report. And as of January, we out of the 12.9 that we had originally approved for a budget, we've collected $6.5 million, and then in expenditures, our initial budget was $12.2 million, and thus far we've spent just over $6 million. And with that, when you get your financial report next month, since we just approved, the board just approved the amendment, you will get the updated numbers for the budget, which would include the $14 million as opposed to the $2 million. So that's why you see $2 million on your reports, because of course you hadn't approved the amendment as yet. So that's where we are in the general fund, and that means that we have $445,000 to the good as of January 31st. Okay, so $445,000 less in expenditures over the revenue that we've collected.
As of now.
As of January 31st. So the next month, and when we come together in March, you will have expenditures through February 28th. Okay? And that's also reflected in the EDEP, the Enhanced Deficit Elimination Plan. And you'll find that information on page, let's see. And it's the exact same information, it's just that this Treasury likes to see it in a different format. So it's on page 268, and that is in the, no, that's the budget. Sorry
You have
about
the
that.
long version, is there a long version in there? Because I saw it, it's cut up into a lot of pages. You know, we used to get that, you know,
Yeah,
the
that
long,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can follow, just me personally, I
You'd
can
rather
follow
have
it.
that? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I
I'll
can
make a
follow it
note
better, like, yeah.
to give you that.
Okay. Just me personally, I don't know if anybody else wants. I
No,
know me.
I can do it that way.
Okay.
That's when I switch it over to a PDF file.
Right, yeah, you
Generally-
gotta,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
break it up, so.
Okay, so I'll make sure I fix that for you.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
anyway, the report that you're interested in, let's see. That's cash, would be cash flow, and that is on page. I should have numbered the estimates. The budget. Okay, so the year-to-date it was on page 285, the expenditures, which would be, like I said, as a recap of what we, I just showed you in our financials. So on 285 in the one that says monthly year-to-date is to the right of the green column. And then for the actual cash flow, that one is on page. It is on page, let's see. On page 296, it says January. So that first column on 296 just shows you where the cash is. And again, that's the same thing that you saw in the financials for January. They just want to see it in a different format.
May I ask, is
Yes.
all this electronic?
Yes,
And-
it should have come up.
I apologize.
You okay?
As I get to know this a little better, I just need to,
Okay.
an easier way to do this
Okay,
and stuff. Just, I like the idea he's got where you have it in pages. That's great.
okay.
I just,
Now, electronically, I'm not sure it'll come up that way, but when I print it out, I can do it that way.
yeah, I'm not a big paper person.
Okay.
I'm more
Well, if
electronic.
nothing else, I'll just do that one page. Even though it, you know, if you get it electronically, it's gonna be in all these pages.
No, that's
But I'll at
fine.
least print it out, just that one page.
Yeah, the electronic
that'll
copy
be-
like that is fine. I could find things that way too.
Okay. All right. And that's that. Okay, so any questions on the financial reports or the E EDAP?
Yes, on the EDEP, is there a hard line to when we stop reporting to the state? You said next year we might be to the good. I mean, does that mean we stop reporting, or we just keep reporting until they say, all right, we don't want to hear
Well,
that?
basically, they'll tell us they don't wanna see it anymore.
So
But I
we'll-
believe if we can get 2 solid years, you know, strong years, reporting that we're in the black, they'll tell us that they don't wanna see the reports anymore.
Okay, so basically, there is no hard line stop date right now?
Right,
So
yes,
We're on stop loss, pretty much?
yes.
We just gonna keep going?
The one good thing, though, I don't have to give them as much paperwork as I had to before. Before, I don't know if you remember, Dr. Pearson and I went up to Lansing and explained our case. We thought that we can, we showed them how we were able to make some changes and reduce our deficit greatly compared to the previous years. And they were satisfied with the presentation, and they had confidence in what we were doing. And so far, we're still on track. So they have not, you know, requested and required as much from me. I don't have to report to them as often, but I
Okay,
still
so
have to give them,
You only have to report what they ask you, what they ask
yes,
for?
yes,
Okay, you just have to make sure you have it ready in case they ask for it?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's fine.
And I do send these reports to them each month,
Okay, that's fine.
and they've been patient.
That was my question, how often do you gotta send it to them?
Yeah, I have to send it to them every month,
Okay.
but again, like I just explained, I hadn't, I just started sending them back because we had so many other things, and I did have to let them know and report to them that, okay, I don't have it all together yet, but we're getting there. And so they've been patient with us because they knew I kept them apprised of everything that was going on, including the issues that we were having with PESG, and then the changes in our office and all of the things that we had to deal with. So they have confidence in that Mount Clemens knows what they're doing, so.
All right,
Okay.
are we gonna talk about the contract listing and question proposal?
Yes, yes. So contract listing, this is a report that we give you each month, and it just lists all of the different agencies that we do contract with, and I give you dates of when they are going to be expiring within 3 months, 4 months. And what we have right now is legal services. We were going to do an RFP in December, but of course, things were happening. And Mr. Bruley requested that instead of getting a retainer for 12 months, he asked if I could, would ask the firm if they would settle with the 6 months. And I did contact them, they were satisfied, so we did a 6-month retainer. And I do have a request for proposal
That's
that
who we currently now?
I'm sorry,
That's currently who we have now?
yes,
Who we-
yes,
So they'll, okay.
yes.
So they agreed to a 6 month.
Yes.
Okay.
So the RFP that I will be sending out will, if we change, it would be effective July 1.
Okay.
So we'll start off on the new year with that. So I'll be getting that out tomorrow. The other one we have is food service also expires in June. And it's a boilerplate RFP. And I did give, you should have a copy of it at your desk. It's that huge packet that you, with the paper clip on it. And again, this is boilerplate. We get this from the state because these are federal dollars, so they lay out the format, and we put our name and our information in there. And I will be getting that out to, well, first I have to send it to the state after I fill in all of our information and get their approval. And then once they approve it, then I can send it out to the different companies. And I believe there are about 15 on the website that they recommend you send it to. And I just send it to all of them. That way, no one can say that, you know, we were showing, we were biased with any company. So I send it out to all of them. And we're looking to sign with someone that, because even after it's submitted and we go through all of the vetting and we pick a company that we feel comfortable with, I still have to send that information to the state. They look over it and see if they think it's reasonable. And if at that time they say it's reasonable, then we can award the contract to a vendor. So that's just the steps of what goes on, and it would be effective in July.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Mr. Monk?
Okay.
Yeah, just got a couple of questions, and I'm gonna talk about food, because that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes, sir.
I've been in that business for 40 years. I know we've had our current provider now for quite a while.
Yes.
Have you found, besides the other company that came and did a presentation for us, are there any other companies that operate in this area? Because I know all, whatever, 17, I mean, he said that's in the website. I know they all don't operate in the Macomb County area. Do we have like a top 3 or top 4 that we're gonna concentrate on?
No. No, because again, that would be biased. I'm automatically excluding every.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean concentrate on,
Okay.
but that will put in a bid in this area, that do business in this area.
I can't say, because what I do, I send it out to all
Right.
of them, and I have to go with whoever sends in a bid.
Gotcha.
Because I think if you remember, the last time, we only got one bidder.
Right.
So,
Well, that's happened the last
Right.
couple of times. We only
well, the
had
time
one.
before, I think we had 2.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Okay.
So, for some reason, I don't know if there are more companies out there that's a little bit more hungry this go-round, but there are lots of companies that said, you know, especially when I go to some of the professional developments and the vendors are there, they are looking for new business. So, and they did ask, you know, when we'd send out a bid, if I would make sure that they got one. So that's what I'm gonna do. So, and like I said, the way it operates, I have to send it out to various companies. I
Right.
remember one time, there were 2 companies in Canada that I had to send it to.
Okay.
That costs more postage.
Right.
But I had to send it to them. So, but now we can do everything electronically. So I blind copy all of the companies and whoever responds. And the key to that is you cannot submit a bid if you do not come to the pre-bid meeting.
Okay.
So
Now, what's the pre-bid meeting?
that, it's a meeting that you have usually about a month or so before all of the final, minimum 2 weeks. But they all have to come in, and we do a presentation saying these are the things that we're looking for. They'll go around to our buildings and look at our kitchen,
Okay.
look at, see what our operation looks like currently, and they'll ask questions. And so everybody that comes to that are the ones that can submit a bid. So if you don't come to that meeting, you can't even submit a bid,
Gotcha.
okay?
Okay.
So that's the way that works. And again, these are federal guidelines, so it's
Right.
nothing that the district or the county.
Right, so, yeah.
Or even the state, no. Federal dollars.
Right.
So, federal guidelines.
Well, I just want to recommend that we, you know, we definitely look for a company. People don't understand.
Yes.
When you have a great food provider in
Yes.
your district for schools, that's another key component
Yes.
for students staying and students coming. A lot of people don't think that. You
Food
know,
plays
you're
a
talking
huge
about
part.
food. You're talking about parents are very, you know, where it deals with allergies and all the other course, it's all federal guidelines, but I'm a firm believer that, and I've done it, that you can fix great food within the federal guidelines.
Yes.
Great food within the federal guidelines. And we need to look at companies who are gonna step outside the box,
Yes.
who are gonna take real control and put our students first.
Yes,
And that's what it's about. It's about our kids.
absolutely.
It's not about the adults. Adults can go to Burger King, y'all can go out to White Castle, y'all can do what you wanna do, you know what I'm saying? But the kids,
Yes.
we can, we provide that good,
Wholesome.
wholesome meal to these kids.
Yes.
That's another notch in the belt for the parents.
Yes, you're right.
So that's
Absolutely.
my thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you.
Wish I could be part of the process, but I know I
Well,
can't, so.
well, we will have, we will have.
I'll
a
be a,
committee.
I'll be a sampler though, I'll sample all day long now.
Take note of that, we'll make sure he's around.
Sign me up.
Professional sampler.
Okay,
Right.
okay. But we will
Mr.
have a
Monk
committee, because we would like for students to participate,
Right, right.
staff, community members, especially parents, board member, if you guys would like to be a part of that, of course, you can be a part of.
I'm just a firm believer that you gotta shake things up. You got people who be in place for too long, they get complacent. You gotta shake it up.
So, Madam Superintendent, you said there's federal guidelines for them to come in for a pre-meeting, what'd you say, pre-meeting walkthrough or something like that?
Yes.
That's federal
It's-
guidelines.
Yes, that anyone that, any company or vendor that would like to submit a bid, they must first attend a pre-bid meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when is this pre-bid meeting? Is this already set in stone, that date, or?
No, I'm gonna finish that up tomorrow, by Friday. So I can send it, my deadline for myself is the 28th, that I get all of this paperwork together and send it back to the state so they can vet it and make sure what we're requesting is reasonable and within the guidelines of, that's allowed.
Because I was looking at the contract for our current vendor, and it ends in June,
Yes,
June 30th, yeah.
June 30th.
June
And right
30th.
now it's February, you talking about February 28th. So are we looking at less than 2 months, 3 months before this even get in position?
well, what happens, like I said, after I send it to the state, and it's a lot of districts that are looking at these, so, and they've been doing it for several years, so they look for certain things, and so they can approve one pretty quickly. So in less than 2 weeks, they would be, come back and say, okay, you guys are ready, send out your RFP. And at that time, I send it out electronically. And I tell them when we're gonna have the pre-bid meeting. And then usually 2 weeks after that, I say, okay, that's the date that we need to have your bid in by a certain hour. And usually it's 4 o'clock on some day. So any bid that's in on that day, at that time, that's when we open them up and kind of go through and say, we can make a list of the folks that actually bid it. And then, as we're looking through the paperwork, making sure that they have everything that's required in the paperwork, then we'll set up some tours if we feel it's necessary. That, yeah, we want to go to one of your school districts and see what the operations look like. Talk with the folks over there and see what they're saying about the food.
I understand all that, but see, the question I'm asking
Oh, I'm sorry.
is a timeline.
What's the
Because,
drop dead date?
yeah, because we have 6 months from January to June. 1 month gone, so now we had 5 months. We're looking at February 28th, 2 weeks from that, and now we're down at 4 months. Get the information out to people. That's gonna be down less than 3 months. So
Yeah,
are we gonna have enough time to really do a
yes.
good vetting
Yeah.
process and get somebody
Absolutely.
here?
Yeah.
Because,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you put it out there, and in 30 days, they're gonna come in, and another 30 days, we're gonna approve it?
That's it, yeah,
That's how it
we
works.
could have this approved in May. A new and remember, if it's a company that's just starting this, you don't want them, you don't wanna be their guinea pig. Cause they know exactly what the process is, if they're serving schools, they've seen that, we're not the only one, this is the same contract that's laid out across the country. So, if they don't know where they're supposed to put the information and already ready to go, no, we don't want them.
So there's nothing in the current contract saying that we need to notify them within a certain amount of days that we're not gonna renew their contract.
Yeah, see,
No,
that's
but
where I'm getting at. Thank you,
they-
Mr. Moss.
they have to
Because
bid
I
on-
understand how
They-
the process
they still
works.
have
They would
but we
have
gotta
to
make
bid
sure
on
we
it.
follow.
No, they have to bid on it too. It's not like it's just automatic. They have to bid on it. The federal guidelines say, we cannot automatically renew. We did
Right.
that already. You get up to 40, after you approve a bid, You
That's
have
what I was
up
gonna
to
ask. So
4.
they're at the end of that
Yes.
time frame where they're at the end, so they have to bid.
Yeah, they have to
Okay.
bid,
All right, that's
yeah.
what I want, okay, that's the
Yeah,
question, okay.
it's not, and, because if they don't bid, you cannot
Right, if they
award it
don't
to
bid,
them.
then they automatically lose.
Right.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
that's what, yeah, I think that's what,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because you know what?
Okay.
Business as usual don't work.
right.
It haven't been working for a long time, so I'm just gonna make sure we on our P's and Q's. All right?
That's why we're doing this now,
Okay.
because
Okay.
normally we do it within, 45 days or something, but, yeah, we're doing this now.
Okay. Item 9, superintendent's comments.
Okay, thank you. We have a couple things. The last basketball game is tomorrow night, I believe. Yep,
Boys or
so,
girls?
boys. The
Boys?
girls was on the 12th, I think it was, yeah. So, so the last boys' basketball game is, and then, I think you have so the girls was on the 12th. That was their last game. And so tomorrow, we have the boys playing Cardinal Mooney, and it's a home game.
Cardinal Mooney?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So if anyone can come to that, we appreciate everyone coming out and showing their spirit for the team and supporting our young men. They've done a great job this year.
So they're not having any district games here in Mount Clemens?
District, I'm not sure if they are doing the tournaments yet. I know we did one, was it last year? And it was a huge thing. And I haven't heard much, so I have to ask the coach if they
Yeah,
plan to do it.
I'm on the athletic committee meeting, but it's ad hoc. That means unless it's an emergency. But it's
Exactly.
everything going well, there's no emergency. We'll talk
So
and
we're
figure that one out.
good, yes. You also have the board calendar with the key dates at a glance. Anything in red has something to do with the board, directly or indirectly. So you do have that listing before you, and it will be continually updated. So we just make sure we put everything in here from August to June. And again, as events occur, we will bring it to your attention.
Got a question on that one. Well, I'll
Yes, sir.
save it until you get done, so.
Oh, well, if we're on this one, you can ask.
Well, I was looking at that calendar because I plan on doing a lot of traveling.
Yes?
And I saw that on the board meeting calendar, in June, it has June 12th or 18th.
Oh, that should be the.
And then on the board workshop, it has June 13th. So I know
Oh.
it's pretty hard to do a workshop and a board meeting back to back. So to me, it kind of seems like we should go ahead and schedule that meeting for the 18th of June and not the 12th.
Yeah, right, we did. So
We
that
did?
was, yeah, we did. We
Oh.
changed it. I
Okay.
think it was at the last meeting.
Oh, I
We
wasn't
said,
here.
oh, sorry about that. So that's
Okay.
why on here it says, so if you look on this one, it does
So it's
say
going to
that-
be the 18th and not
Yes,
the
which is a
12th?
Tuesday,
All right,
yes.
okay.
That's why I said
Well,
this is a work in progress, so we'll
That's why I didn't-
continue to
didn't know.
update this. And you will get this every month,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, so I can put that in my calendar.
Yes. 18,
All right.
okay? So any other questions about the calendar?
So I see graduation is June 8th, 12 noon.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a target, that's a hard line target I'm shooting for right there.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Yes, she graduates this year. Yes, she does.
And since you mentioned that, we also have some students that complete their GED. And as they complete those, they are so proud, and I should say we are proud of them too, because they are community members. And they are interested in walking with the students when they graduate in June. And if it so pleases the board, I would recommend that we add them at the end of the regular students graduating. They come up in the end, because my biggest thing is I want students to know, yes, we want you to finish school in those 13 years. That is the ultimate goal. But sometimes things happen and you don't do it. And we don't want them to think that you're a lost cause, that you can go back and complete it. So if there is an adult that is completing their GED or getting their high school diploma in an alternative way, we would like for them to march with the students to show their children and their grandchildren, their family, that I did do it. And high school education is important. And it doesn't matter what age. Like I said, the preferable way to go is finishing those 13 years. But don't ever give up.
How many students, how many?
Right now, I know it's one that has
Okay.
requested. And I was proud that they even wanted to do it. You know, so if it pleases the board, I would like to let them know, yes, you can march with this class.
Well, let's look at the policy and the guidelines on that. And if it, it doesn't go against our current policy and guidelines, I'm pretty sure the board wouldn't mind, but I want to make sure we check everything, make sure before we make that decision. So,
We will discuss that at our next
yeah,
policy meeting.
we actually, I think that might be something to discuss.
Can I make a comment on that?
Please.
I just want to say that you guys don't know me other than being elected. You know a little bit about me. I was one of those students that would have been at the alternative school. I did go back and get my college degree. I was a dropout. And going and walking really elevates your self-esteem. I hope that we can do this for them because it's very important so that they can continue on. And by the way, I continued on with my education in an unconventional way, and it was very important to do that because it shows that you have a drive to do more than what people think you are.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. And it's such encouragement to other people. That's why I do want to make sure we have a forum also, that we will have assemblies that with all the student body to tell our story and to get other folks, because some of our students believe that you were just born into whatever you're doing. Oh, it's easy. You've never had any obstacles. Everything just came to you on a silver platter. No, it's because you had the drive and you knew you wanted something more for yourself. And I want our students to know that it's never too late. Never too late until your eyes are closed finally. You can go out and you can make a difference, not only for yourself, but to others in your family. And that does mean a lot, like you said, to be able to walk across that stage at whatever age to say, yes, I did it. Because with adult education now, right, you have college students. The average college student is what, about 35, 40? Because you didn't do it the conventional way. And I used to tell my son, it's much easier if you just go straight through. Just get it done. But if you don't quit. And that's the message I want our students to know. Never quit, because you can do it.
That sign back there says it all right there.
Dream big.
Dream big.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And don't ever stop. And thank you, Seminole.
Anything else, Madam
Okay.
Superintendent?
Yes. Also, wanted to bring to your attention, the POHI program is inviting us to their annual dinner dance called Luck of the POHI. And you have an invitation in front of you. This is such a wonderful event. They do this every year. This is their huge fundraiser. It is on Saturday, March the
Oh, I was
16th.
about to say, you don't have it.
It's on the back, yes, it's on the back. I wanted to do a one-pager. And last year was the first time, honestly, I had heard about it, but they do this every year. I went and I had such a great time. And again, this is a fundraiser, so bring your pocketbook, your wallet, whatever, but you won't regret it. These families, such a small group, but they raise so much money to make sure all of the students are able to go on their field trip. It's an overnight trip, and any other things that they may need that our programs can't afford to pay for, or I call it sometimes a luxury item that they really want to share with their kids. And this fundraiser allows them to do this. So please, everyone, come out and support our POHI students on their fundraiser on Saturday, March the 16th. And it starts the doors open at 6:30, and dinner will be served at 7:30. You don't want to miss it. It is so much fun. So that's that one. Also, we're having, celebrating Black History Month, and you're invited to a lunch on February 28th with the students. They're gonna, feature different types of, food honoring, just American history, Black history, but American history, the different cultures that's here in America. So they're gonna do that. The middle school's lunch is from 10:30 to 11, and the high school is from 12:30, from 12 until 12:30. So if you are available, please come out and join staff with that.
30 minutes, that's all they need? I
Yes.
need at least 45. I'm gonna be taste testing everything.
And the kids can do more talking than anything.
Right, okay.
Also, I gave you a newspaper, the Journal. Just wanted to let you know that we do have our kindergarten roundup advertisement in there, and
What page?
Last page before.
Last
the
page.
yeah,
Second to last
8A.
page.
And just wanted to see, let everyone know that that is in there. So come out and celebrate with us at kindergarten roundup, and it will be at Seminole on March the 7th. It's a Thursday at 6:00 p.m., and that's always fun times too. So if you have kindergartners ready to come to school, please bring your little ones and join in that fun. Let's see how the way. And we also have, I gave you a news article that Mr. Patrick is going to talk about our 3 outstanding students with the Journal. This is an electronic article in the Macomb Daily. So, Mr. Lindenberry.
Well, thank you. I was going to wait till my coalition time, but I'll be
Oh,
more than
okay.
happy to
Well,
talk
you-
about it now during, thanks for the extra time, by the way, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, we enter contests, not the same ones every year. We try and mix it up and do different contests throughout the year. But the one we look forward to the most is the Student Broadcast Awards that's sponsored by the Michigan Association of Broadcasters. There's 4 divisions: high school radio, high school television, college radio, and college television. So obviously we're entering and there's several categories within each of those. And Ashley and Shane and Angel submitted different videos in different categories, and this year we happened to strike on 3 of them, which we're really proud of. Ashley got first place in current events.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed.
Right.
That's the picture there. She was covering the Daughters of Macomb celebration, which is usually it's the middle of August. The girls meet downtown and have a little day to themselves. Shane got honorary mention in current events for his coverage of the Governor Luncheon at Mac Ray, which usually happens in April. It'll be happening again. That's the Chamber of Commerce. And Angel got an honorary mention for a documentary they did through PenCow. And the reason that they won is because Angel was on their team from Mount Clemens, and that's why PenCow got an honor. That's my story I'm sticking to. And Angel also got an Ashley also got an honorable mention in news feature for her Macomb Food Drive story.
All right.
So we are quite pleased.
Right.
So we'll be taking them to Lansing on March 6th for the Student Broadcast Luncheon to get their awards with all the other high schools and colleges that will be there representing their schools and whatnot. So it's always a good time. We're looking forward to it. We're excited. We've sent that article out to the Journal, to the Macomb Daily, Macomb Now magazine, and some other local outlets. So we are doing as much shameless self-promotion as we possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you. We're so proud of our students, and thank you
you
so
for
much
it,
for
too.
the hard work that you put in
Yeah,
with
they
our
make it
students.
easy.
and-
They're
Yeah,
easy little molds of clay to push together.
yeah, so thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And congratulations to all of you. Okay. And those are my comments.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Item 10, committee reports. We will start with A, Athletics Ad Hoc Committee. That is myself. There was no emergency, but we do need to look at some revising of things, but, things move the way it should. Ms. Dante is working it as it is. We're gonna tie that with curriculum. So next time we meet, we're probably gonna try to hook all those together at the same time. Okay, 'cause they kinda go together anyway.
Yes.
All right, so that's, I have anything, unless y'all want something brought to the athletic committee, let me know, send it to me. We'll put it together.
I had a question. I think if I remember from a meeting that was at the end of the year,
Mhm.
you guys were talking about additional athletics that were coming. Will we be hearing some more about those?
We absolutely will. And actually, what committee are you on now?
I'm on a policy
Policy.
committee.
Is that the only one?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not an athlete, guys.
Yes, hey, man, you
My
have a question.
athletics goes for technology. That's about it.
You know what, technology's about to become a sport, you know, they about to do that. They do have, what was that, I forgot what that sport is, some video game or something, shoot and
Yeah,
kill people, I don't know
robotics or
the name of it. Black Ops or
Fortnite or-
Fortnite, all that stuff.
So many.
You might want to bring that here, that might be a good thing. So, I'm not kidding though, I'm serious.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, shoot any other questions, just shoot it over to us. You know, shoot to the superintendent, whatever. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely put it on the table. And I kind of do like that Fortnite thing, so you might
Okay.
want to write that down.
Okay. And our basketball coach, I did fail to mention that we had that one position open for a behavior specialist over at Seminole. And we're proud to say that our basketball coach, boys basketball coach, got that position. So he is working over at Seminole in that position. And he is a welcome delight. He's exactly what Seminole needed, but he's still the coach over here. So and I know, Mr. Monk, you had mentioned that you feel much better when the coaches are actually working here, which he had been working here before too, but now he is in the classroom helping students. So we are very proud to say that Mr. Trammell is officially part of the family now.
That's great.
Yeah,
Good,
because
good.
he was
That is
That's great.
So we got 2 basketball guys over there.
yes, 3 basketball, and they're
Yeah,
working
Mr.
well
Monk,
together.
Mr. Monk be walking through there too. You know, he's a basketball guy.
Hey,
too.
No, I don't know if the girls' position come back up. I might apply for it.
Yeah,
I know I ain't gonna get paid. That's all right.
it's all good. though.
Come to the athletic committee, Mr. Monk. We'll talk about something.
We'll talk about it,
We
okay?
talking about no money on the line. You know,
Right.
We'll talk about something. Maybe get you a T-shirt or something. I don't know.
He can make his own.
Yeah, get him a golf shirt. Right?
You don't took my thunder. That's fine. Ms. Mo, you can write your own T-shirt. Put your name on the back.
Yeah,
There
you
you go,
get
there
your
you go.
T-shirt, you print on it.
Community Coalition.
The term you're looking for was esports, and there are high school esport leagues now.
That's right.
There
I
are
knew it.
college esport leagues and professional esport teams.
Really?
One's actually owned by Robert Kraft, who owns the New England Patriots, and one's owned by Mark Cuban, who owns the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
So they own professional esport teams. So if your
Tap
kids
it
play
in.
too many video games, you can make money now. So when they tell you I can make money, they're not lying. You can make money now in video games. So it's a thing.
Let's not tell them that.
It's actually a thing. So you may not be too far off from what he was telling you about the e-games. But for the coalition, yeah, our Real Talk event is on March 15th. So you're always welcome to come by and join us, sit in a discussion room. If you want to log in and be one of the parent facilitators, please let me know or let Ryan here know, and we will mark you into a room. We usually have 2. We have 1 teacher facilitator in each room. We have 2 adults who just sit and listen while the kids are having their discussion. So if that's something you're interested in doing, please let myself or Ryan know, and we're happy to sign you up into a room for that day. There's 2, 1 in the morning and 1 after. So 1 before lunch and 1 after lunch, and you'll be done by, I want to say 12:30 or 1 o'clock. We usually have the kids back in class, so it's not an all-day thing. But that is on March 15th. We have moved our meeting time. We are still in here next Wednesday. We are now meeting at 10:30 in the morning. So we've been having problems getting some folks here in the afternoon. They wanted to move to a morning time, so we are now meeting at 10:30. If that encourages any of you to join the coalition, we'd love to have more membership. And I would once again like to request the school board to please, we need 3 cable commissioners to serve on the Cable TV Commission. Right now, the school district not having representation on the Cable Commission. Your job, they only meet bi-monthly. Your job is to basically manage me and Darren. So it's an award-winning program, so it's not a lot to do. It's not hard. You just manage and there's budget time. So I mean, our budget's kind of standard. It's based on, if you don't know how we work, we're financed half by the city of Mount Clemens and half by the school district. So the city of Mount Clemens receives money from Comcast, Wide Open West, and AT&T through their cable subscribers and through what's called PEG fees, what we can use to buy equipment. We can't use it for programming or personnel. It can only be saved for equipment. So that stays at City. So all the equipment that we have, we purchase through City Hall with cable TV funding from the cable companies. The subscriber money can go to myself and to Darren and the kids in programming. The school then matches whatever half the city puts in, the school matches, and you guys also produce our fiduciary services, heating, light, rental, and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's our budget's pretty much split down the middle, half from the city and half from the school. So it doesn't change very often. We are very good at making do with whatever we're asked to give, or, you know, what we can take. So we've also done a really good job of cutting our expenses. We don't need as much media anymore because people stream everything. So we have to make as many DVDs as we used to. We put everything on YouTube. People are very happy with that. So we've done a really good job of being able to cut out unnecessary expenses. So we've been able to work, you know, pretty cheaply. We don't have to buy videotape anymore. We use chips that we can erase and use it again and again and again. So we've eliminated a lot of costs that used to run thousands of dollars a year. We've gotten rid of a lot of that overhead. So we've done, you know, keeping forward with the technology, we've been able to actually save money. The cable station's renovated. It's all HD, so it should be good for another 10 or 15 years. We shouldn't have to be addressing anything there. Minor equipment purchases here and there, but in general, we're pretty easy, committed to work with. You would need to apply at City Hall, get the commissions or board application from City Hall. They would then send it back to you for approval, whatever applicants come through for the cable commission. Like I said, it's every month, it's every 2 months. We meet for usually an hour, hour and a half upstairs in the cable TV station. We go over what we need to go over. It's usually signing, you know, signing a quote for repair, whatever we happen to need that month, and that's usually about it. It's pretty easy stuff. But we do need school district representation on the commission.
One,
Okay.
two, one person,
You have
two
3
people?
spots open right now. So I have 4 commissioners, 3 that have been vetted through the city, and 1 at large. So I do have a quorum, but if one doesn't show up, I can't have a meeting.
Gotcha.
But you do have 3 spots. It's 7 members total.
Oh, it's, okay.
It's 7.
Okay,
3 from the city, 3 from the school, and 1 at large.
Gotcha.
So the city has filled their 3 spots. I've been, you know, we had some incidents. Unfortunately, one was approved and, you know, pretty much passed away a couple months later. It was very sad, but it was Mike Bradley. So we've had some issues, you know, filling those spots, but I do want to reiterate that it's important. We need to fill those spots. Okay? So again, they can apply at City Hall. They can go to the website, cityofmontclairmountclairmount.com, go to the boards, committees, and commissions page, and there's an application right there. They can fill it out, take it back into the city clerk's office. They will then return that to you. If they're applying for the school, for the cable commission, you guys approve them, and we're all set. Okay? So I very much appreciate, like I said, it's not a major commitment whatsoever.
But an important one. But an important one.
An important one, if you keep our program alive, so we can keep bringing you guys awards and putting trophies on the wall, so.
So will that program also include esports? Just joking.
You know, we can talk about it.
So we go to city to apply.
Yeah, there's a commission and committee application for a volunteer.
All right.
Must be 18 years old, have to live in the city, I think 2 years. For a commission, might be 6 months. I think it's 2 years, though. That they have to be at least 18 years old and have to live in the city at least 2 years
Okay.
to apply for any commission, which I think includes the city commission.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they have to be in the city of Mount Clemens, not just the school, they have to be actual in the city proper. So they can't be Clinton Township or whatever, they have to be in the city limits, unfortunately. That's what
Gotcha.
they're-
Gotcha.
For a commission, that's one of the requirements that's in the city charter,
Right. Okay.
all right? So I had plenty of parents that have asked, and unfortunately, they lived in the district, but not in the city itself.
In the city, right.
They lived on the
Gotcha.
outskirts or whatever, so I've had to turn some parents away.
So board members are perfect because we fill all those requirements anyway.
Absolutely.
All right.
And from what I've read, there's nothing in the charter that would keep you from being on the cable commission.
Okay. All right.
As long as you're not on any other commission, you can't serve on 2 commissions in the city, as far as I
Gotcha.
know. You can be on 1, but you can't be on more than 1, as far as I know.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank
I'm sorry,
you.
any questions?
Nope.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, committee report from Curriculum Personnel Committee. Madam Superintendent, what I want you to do, if you can, get in contact with Ms. Jensen. Have her put the agenda together in a date and time for a Tuesday afternoon or whatever, and let's get one set in the books soon, okay?
Okay. So this coming Tuesday would be good?
Should be fine.
Okay.
And, on that,
That's the 26th.
yeah, and on the, that committee, staff changes, PSG, the new council, all
Yes.
that stuff, and just go over that
I
route.
have a couple things.
Okay,
Okay.
it's curriculum personnel. Is there anybody want anything on that curriculum committee or personnel committee? Any information, want to put anything on that or anything? Shoot Madam Superintendent email, CC myself and Ms. Jensen.
Okay,
I'm gonna have her start taking the lead on that.
okay,
I'll be there, of course, in my capacity, but,
all right,
you know,
So
let
she'll
her,
do
she
the-
knows curriculum.
right.
I'm
And
just
then
there.
we'll do the,
Yeah, making sure it
Personnel
falls
piece.
in board guidelines.
Right.
Okay.
okay.
All right, so that's good to go. Educational Foundation. Who's on the Educational Foundation?
And that,
Earl?
is that, I think so.
Since we have, I want to say there was no meeting. I don't know if there meeting or not. We will find out. So since we don't have no report, we'll just move on to legislation, which is also Earl. We'll have another report for the next meeting. Mr. Monk, the best for last. Policy Committee.
Policy, thank you, sir. We had no meeting. Just want to kind of make a couple of comments. First of all, I would like to meet with all of my fellow policy committee members about 5 minutes after the board, since we're all here, so we can put together a date and time for us to meet once a month. So I would kindly ask that we all meet after the meeting, so took care of that. Most of the policies that come to the policy committee are federal and state guidelines. And what we're going to do is that from a policy committee standpoint, I kind of passed out the chart. This is kind of, and I know Dr. McFadden, you wanted to see this policy date. If you look at it, when it's in black, that means it's going to be second reading and it's going to be for adoption. When it's in red, that's a proposal. If you look at the date to the left, that's a proposed date that it's going to be adoptive. Of course, it's got to go to the first. So if you take the first one, student supervisory and welfare, well, I got 4/17/18 on there. So we'll bring the first reading in March, then the second reading will be at the board meeting in April, which is April 17th. So that's how you can kind of read that. The blue highlighted are policies that came for first reading, but it's an ongoing policy that the district has to do work on. We just needed to get it going for first reading. Then when the superintendent brings the recommendation for a final rating based on whatever they had to do, then we'll bring that in for a second reading. What you see in white is all the policies that are on the table for adoption. So like the ones that are in white right now, that's not color-coded, those are ones that we adopted tonight. So this will be a ongoing updated date, and I'm going to pass this along to my fellow cohort, my partner in crime, Ms. Escalante. So she'll be getting this out to all the board members, and we'll have this on a monthly basis so everybody knows what's coming up, what's going on, first reading, second reading, adoption, so it keeps everybody abreast of everything. Ms. Jared, we're going to bring you up to speed on our first meeting. We'll get everything to you. You know, we're going to try to, we've been having too long of a meeting, so I'm saying it now. We're going to shorten it down. So, you know, but most of the stuff that comes to the policy meeting are federal and state guidelines. Now, when Neola or MASB make a recommendation, we don't have to adopt that. So I'm asking all of my fellow board members to read the policies, like the one I pulled tonight. There's something that we don't have to adopt. It's something we can look at, but they say recommend, based on the feedback that they're getting throughout the state. There's other boards has come up, that problem has came up as far as, you know, remote voting. So they say, okay, well, there's enough districts out there that's talking about this, so let's make a recommendation. And that's what they do. They make a recommendation to the different boards for us to adopt or not adopt. We can keep what we got or we can adopt it. So that's usually how that works. Recommendations come in from them. Those are vetted. I know talking with Dr. Pearson, right? Peters from Neola. He's awesome. When we have a stack of policies that come in, we bring him in, and he kind of gets us through them quick because he knows them. Instead of us kind of fingering them in, and we're like going through page by page, which I'm gonna ask that our policy committee that we do our homework so we can have our meetings hours tops. I know my time is valuable. You guys' time is valuable. I know definitely your time is valuable. Yeah, those 2-hour meetings ain't been getting it. It's just running too long. So, other than that, we will meet, schedule a policy meeting, and we will try to stay on top of policies as diligently as we can. Thank you. I will entertain any questions.
Okay, let's move on to item number 11, board comments. We're gonna start over at Ms. Jarrett. You have a comment? I can wait for you later. I can go with Mr. Monk. How about we do that?
That's fine, that's fine.
Sure.
How you found act like that, though? You know? Just kidding.
No, you good.
As I just want to encourage, even though we have had some rough weather this last month, I want everybody to stay healthy, stay safe, and so you can come back to school and we see your happy faces here. I'm very encouraged on what I've seen so far from the board, and I know I have a big job and big shoes to fill here. So, bear with me. I will, it takes a little while to get used to and get comfortable in new positions. So I'm very encouraged, excited, and I look forward to getting to know everyone here in the Mount Clemens Schools again as on the board. And it's been a long time since I've been to school. So y'all gotta take me to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jarrett. Ms. Escalante.
Thank you, Dr. McFadden. February is almost over. I don't know about you guys, but it has gone really quick. Well, some days not so quick. Parents, I know we had a lot of inclement weather days, and I know that for some of us it's inconvenient. But I just want to remind you all that when you're going crazy because your kids are home more than you anticipated, it is really for the safety and the well-being of the students, of the staff, of the bus drivers, of everybody that comes together to make this district function. Obviously, we prefer to be in class. We don't want to not have our children in school, but sometimes that's just what it's going to be. Michigan is giving us a hard time this year, so hopefully we'll start seeing some warmer weather as we approach March, hopefully. And I just want to say that I'm also really encouraged just with the budget, with the numbers, the direction that we're going. Teresa, I'm excited to get to know you more on policy. You're outnumbered now, 2-1.
I knew you was gonna say that.
You can handle it though. But yeah, I think we're on the right path. We're doing good. We work together well, all of us. I think everybody here has something amazing to add, and we're all focused on the same goal, which is our children, making this district what we know it is.
Yes.
So, anyways, those are my comments, and you have to say with me, since you're filling Glenn's shoes,
That's right.
once a bather, always a bather.
Once a bather, always a bather.
There we go.
Write that one down.
That's it. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Escalante.
You're welcome.
Ms. Walker.
Well, I like snow days. I like the snow. I like days off. I like snow days. My kids like snow days. My dogs like snow days. We are a snow day family. But they should be coming to a close, except for the huge snowstorm in March I heard about. So anyway, that's what I hear, that there's one more big, robust storm coming. So, but you can stay home and read. When you're home, you can read. So my biggest takeaway from tonight is our wonderful cable students. Beta proud here? Yeah. We are so proud of you. We are just so proud of you. You make us proud. Just, it's awesome. So, those are my comments tonight. I was thrilled. I saw you on Facebook. First thing I did was share. I'm like, oh,
You shared it
my
off on
God.
my page.
I did. I'm like, share. So, yeah, we're proud of you. Yes.
Thank you,
Exciting.
Ms. Walker. Thank you very much. Mr. Monk.
Thank you, Doc. Just want to echo currently what my fellow board members has already said. You guys are doing such a great job. You got such a great mentor. And Patrick, I think I've been knowing you for close to 30 years now. Yeah, I know, we won't tell our age. I remember coming to the district when, yeah.
We weren't gonna
Me and
say
you both.
that.
But I just want to congratulate you guys. Keep up the good work. I know you're going to do well, and enjoy the food at you guys' luncheon. I know they're going to have some awesome food, so please, please enjoy. I would say bring me back a plate, but, you know, I want to say something. You know, when I thought about running for the board, I had questions. I was frustrated as a parent. And instead of complaining and sending anonymous letters, I did something about it. I ran. And I ran because I knew I could bring something to the board. I ran because I knew I can bring a different perspective as someone who's come up through the system, who worked in the school district, who knows the school district, and was part of the decisions that back then the current boards were making. So I ran to make a difference. And I believe I've made 1/7 of a difference because I'm one of 7 board members. I made my 1/7 of a difference. You know, listen, if you have not been following us, we are cutting the deficit. We are turning things around. We're not going to satisfy everybody every time. The world don't work like that. But we're going to do our best to make sure that we take care of these kids, because in the final analysis, it's about the kids.
Absolutely.
We make decisions based on the kids. We do what we have to do for the kids. Now, I know a lot of parents get bent out of shape, and I get it. I understand it, because I used to be in your shoes. But what I did is that instead of talking about it, I said I'm going to be about it. And I ran for the board. Now I'm on my 2nd term. So, you know, if you're frustrated, listen, call me. Send me an email. Let's sit down and talk. Let's meet for some coffee. I'll even buy the coffee. But I'm willing to listen to any concerns, good, bad, or indifference, comments. You know, our staff and our administrators and our superintendents don't hear a lot of, y'all doing a good job. But they definitely hear when they make a mistake. Mistakes going to happen. You learn from your mistakes, which I think this board has done. We've made some mistakes, but we've learned from them, and we adjust it, and we turn it around, and the superintendent and her staff are doing a great job. Teachers are doing an awesome job. So, I know, I get it, but you know what? I think in 2 years, we're going to be, I think by the end of this year, we're going to be out of deficit, then we can start making some moves, you know what I'm saying, giving some money back to some teachers, bring some programs. I mean, we still got to watch it, though. We just can't, here's an open checkbook. You know, it don't work like that, because it took us, what?
10 years.
10 years to get out of this. But, you know, if you're frustrated, come to the board meeting. Come give your citizen comments. We listen. We gather information. But sending anonymous letters and things of that nature, that, you know what, that don't get it. Because who do we talk to? A pen and a paper? So, you know, I welcome, me personally, get in touch with me. I will listen. I like to listen, whether you're angry, frustrated, happy, glad, I'll listen. And we'll see what it is that we can do within our budget. But I just want to say, you know, I think we're doing a really good job. I want to thank my fellow board members. I look forward to my new board member. Yes, I'm outnumbered, but that's okay. I got big shoulders. But, you know, I'm looking forward to the end of this year, next year, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my 3.5 years of being on this board. Then who knows? I may be replaced, I may drop out, and then that'd be your opportunity to be on this board and make a difference. So, and then with those comments,
Thank you, Mr. Monk.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you. All right, so I guess that leaves me. First there was 5, now there's 1. Well, my comments are very simple. Be careful out there. I mean, I'm talking to everybody. The roads are getting slick. Be careful. Look for your fellow man. Be kind. Be warm-hearted. Look out for the little ones, especially. I mean, it doesn't matter what district they're in or who they are. If they're smaller than you, look out for them because they run in the streets and they slipping on ice. So if you can lend a helping hand to them, do it because we will do the best we can. Stay warm. Chicken out on your neighbors. Make sure they're fine, especially the older ones. And that I'm in that category just about as anybody else. But anybody that you can think of that might not heat, clothing, things like that, looking at them because it's not over. There's going to be cold weather coming up. We want to make sure our citizens and people that's in our school district is taken care of. And I also want to congratulate that cable team we got. That team, I think they win an award every year.
Yeah.
I mean, since I've been here, I think they win an award every year. I mean, that speaks volumes. I mean, volumes. I mean, if you can, I know you don't hear a lot about it. I mean, it's inside the paper, but they're doing great. We are one as a whole. I mean, there might be one of 7, but there's 7 of 7. And I got the back of everybody. Those are my comments. I will move for a motion for
So
adjournment.
moved.
Moved by Mr. Monk. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Ms. Walker. Is there any questions or comments about this motion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mrs. Escalante?
Yes.
Dr. McFadden?
Yes, motion is passed. Meeting is adjourned.